welcome here to Town Hall Heroes. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 127 of Town Hall Heroes. My name is Solid Jake. I've got Dunk Train, Urho, and Insomnia here, and let's just get straight to it. Dunk Train, welcome back from China.
Smike unmute. Hey, Jake, what's up, man? Glad to be back. Still dealing with the jet lag, so not 100% here yet. You know, some part of my soul is still over there, slowly moving across the time zones. But other than that, doing good.
You said you went to bed at 6 p.m. and then you made it to bed at 8:30 p.m. or 8 p.m. So you're slowly becoming a real human again.
Yeah, man, I feel like an old fogey, dude. It's about to be my bedtime as soon as the show ends, you know?
Oh, my God. The struggle. Well, Urho, welcome, my friend. Congrats on qualifying. What's new with you?
Not much. I mean, just making my return to Heroes. I'm glad it's a successful one. So, other than that, I'm playing Heroes and just kind of relaxing, you know?
Good life, the good life. Insomnia, your very first time on the show. Welcome.
Thank you. Honestly, it's kind of crazy, you know, like being an amateur player for so long, and now it's like practice is almost paying off for me. It's pretty nuts, actually.
It's good to hear. Well, obviously, guys, we've got a lot to talk about. We've got patch notes, PTR patch notes. We've got the Gold Club World Championship that's concluded that Dunk Train was part of. And then we've got HGC 2017. The second NA qualifier has finished up. Europe is completely done, and the stage has been set for the final qualifier where two more teams can fight for their spot this coming weekend. Let's just jump straight into the patch notes because those bad boys, wait, they already went live, right? I'm confuzzled with everything that's happening right now. Oh, before we get to any of that, actually, I do want to do the Gladius plug. So this is something I announced, and I guess we'll get it right out of the way since it's on the screen. Gladius is a 3v3 ARAM tournament. We're going to be doing, me and Zoya are going to cast, actually. It's going to be a lot of fun. Next Friday, it's on the 16th. It's just a super fun exhibition event. It's going to be starting around 6 p.m. Eastern on the 16th. And it's just a 3v3 ARAM with the rules being thrown out the window. Glau and Caterpillar, I think they signed up. I got to confirm everything. But yeah, that's kind of a fun little thing that is going to be going down. Something I've wanted to do for a while. When they showed BlizzCon, when they showed the arena mode at BlizzCon the very first time, I was like, I want to start a tournament series that's 3v3. Like, I don't know why I like 3v3 better than 5v5 for like a fun series. But yeah, that's something that anyone can sign up for. There's no restrictions as to like, you don't need to all be on the same team in the pro scene or anything. You could have players from Europe, like Bakery, Dunk Train, and Dreadnought could be a team for all I care with this. It can be anyone they want to play. Europeans are very welcome to play as well, but all the matches will be played on the Americas. You can see Dead Poetic, Glau, Cattle. That's a team that's already signed up. And this is all going to be fully crowdfunded. So Matcherino has actually hooked us up with some cool stuff already. I mean, we did a lot with them with Bloodlust, but if you're interested in being part of this, you can use the coupon code Gladius to add $1 for free to the event. And then you can also purchase things like the SteelSeries headphone. Part of that profit will go towards the event. So if you are looking to buy a new pair of headphones for Christmas, or a Yeti, or a new monitor, or whatever, all of these things, when you click on it, it'll tell you, how much of this goes to the event. All $225 would go into the prize pool, and you would get yourself a monitor at the same time. So pretty cool stuff. New feature that Matcherino has just added.
Yeah, that's actually really cool.
I might actually buy that. I'm actually looking for a new 1080p 144 hertz monitor.
There you go. He's found it.
Enter. What are you talking about?
He could get his money back if he wins it, right? Because obviously all that money goes back out as prizing. But cool, that's what's going on with Gladius. Again, just type !Gladius in the chat if you're interested in that. And we'll talk about that a bit more later. But yeah, let's get to these patch notes, which I totally didn't load. And if the stream seems laggy, let me know, guys, because I changed my bit rate. I put it up like mega high, and that's just something to note.
Quick question while Jake loads the patch notes. What do you two think of the format where they did the patch this time, where they like dropped a patch and then also dropped PTR at the same time? For me, it was a little jarring. I feel like they could have just released those patches on the PTR. Like, it wasn't like they needed to address something this week, right? So just curious on your guys' thoughts.
Oh, I agree. That's really weird in such a short window. 1 week of a balance patch. Okay.
It does feel pretty weird. Yeah, it does feel pretty weird. Like, I guess it's normal Blizzard to kind of release the patch right before a pretty big qualifier, which kind of sucks for everyone else. Obviously, there's like the nerf to globals is a little bit. It's gonna adjust. A couple people are gonna have to adjust differently, and then I guess the big change is Calamity can't clear waves on Li Ming anymore.
Yeah,
which I know a lot of people like to use. I'm not really sure about the Samuro changes or obviously Grim Task on Zeratul, but it's kind of weird to. But I guess everyone that plays HOTS kind of expects these patches to come out. But these the small balance before the actual PTR is pretty weird because it's a week of this and then the new patch is going to hit. So
yeah, that was my perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll be honest, when they released the patch notes information, I think they released both the PTR patch notes and the regular patch at like the same time. Yeah. And I had read the information about the PTR patch via the launcher because it was like right on the front. And then I wanted to read it again, and I went on Reddit and I just clicked patch notes. And when the patch notes were completely different and I didn't see Ragnaros, I was like, whoa, did they pull Ragnaros from the PTR? Like, I was just genuinely confused. But I just think it's one of those weird situations where they probably already had this patch in the pipeline, and maybe they wanted it for the esports side of things, in part, like, for a reason. But from the perspective you guys just mentioned, it kind of sucks to be on the player side.
Oh, yeah. It's frustrating. I don't know if you guys... It happens in other esports. I guess Riot's starting to do this too, where Reginald had this huge interview from, I think, Skara. Reginald was complaining so much about how a team will practice so much on this patch. And then right before this big tournament, here comes all these changes. And it's just like, well, there goes all of our hard work. Like, thanks a lot. This is what we do for a living. Cool. So
it's tough.
Yeah,
it's hard. Let's just jump into it. Flight has received a nerf, additional cooldown. Like you were just saying, the global is going to be the things that they're looking to nerf. This is, in fact, the top of the list. Additional cast range and random destruction, negligible.
Oh, I think boy.
Not even, roughly. It's not even exactly. But this Calamity change, let's talk about that.
Yeah, this is obviously like Blizzard getting a little bit nervous, I guess, about wave clear and wanting to characterize it more and more onto the roles. Like we see tanks getting built in or taken away from them, and now Li Ming also. It's like, I feel like it's just a part of the kit that they can hit without feeling like they're nerfing the hero too much, but I think it's actually pretty big in actual play.
Yeah, no, I definitely have to agree. Li Ming, of course, her strongest attribute being a team fight, getting that one kill, getting resets, and snowballing the fight. But this makes her significantly weaker during the early and mid games due to the reduced wave clear. So that's gonna be a change.
I think
not sure how.
Kind of nice though, just because it like puts her in a, she has her strengths and she has her weaknesses, and her weakness is truly like no lane clear. Like in the past, it's like her lane clear is bad at the start of the game, but once you have Calamity, she's fine. But now she's always going to be like, if you don't hit the perfect W, that minion wave is going to take a lot longer than you want to actually clean it.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. I wonder if it will be enough to like push her out of pick at all on like rotation based maps. Probably not entirely, but like it's a big deal if you look at something like Dragonshire or Tomb.
Right.
Together we shall be.
Yeah. Maybe. I think she can still be viable on those maps. It's just if you have a team comp that can get ahead in rotations, she can still find the angles on the wave with a W.
Mm-hmm.
I think that true. honestly right now, I think that in my mind, that's what makes a really, really good leaving player from a mediocre one, is one that knows how to position on a wave before it hits, so you can get that W on the wave. It seems really trivial, but in competitive play, if your W clears the wave on a rotational map, you're being 10 times the more effective at leaming than one that just throws it at the melee minion. So
Yeah.
it's a big deal. Like, you'd be surprised. It makes a difference.
I'm going out on a limb here, but does this make Triumvirate any more noteworthy as a talent to try to be able to deal with those lanes earlier?
I don't play
No,
Link.
but remember it resets on heroes, not on the waves. So I think you're just throwing it anyway. Like, it's not necessarily going to change much about her. I think because you rarely...
I'm dumb. I was thinking it was damage for some reason.
In a competitive standpoint, I rarely see like a Calamity into the wave. So you still have Calamity for the damage. Now it's just less of her being able to catch a wave as quickly. I feel like it kind of seems...
So, sorry, I meant Zai's Vengeance at 7. I got myself confused.
Okay, for orb build? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I feel like Calamity still is such a good reset value when you're still going super aggro in a team fight.
Yeah.
Well, you'll still go Calamity.
Yeah.
It'll just be different.
I like to change myself just because Li Ming is she still the most played hero? Period? I think she has the highest pick.
I have no idea.
Like in total picks in Hero League or something, or in competitive?
Both, honestly.
She doesn't have very high contention, or at least she didn't in GCWC.
Yeah. But at BlizzCon, she was still played a lot, and her win rate was really high.
Yeah, I think her win rate was really high at GCWC too. At least it was when we were looking at some stats partially through. I don't know how it turned out by the end.
It's usually because, it's usually she's kind of supplemental. It's just when she's picked, she's usually not picked banned, kind of late in the draft a lot of times. So it's just like, well, it's a good look here. So there's a lot of heroes. Oh, I think there's a good handful of heroes that have a high win rate but a lower pick rate than other heroes.
Yeah.
And it's because it's just a good fit, and that's why it's probably a higher win rate than other heroes.
Yeah, I think you might be right about that. Well, we'll have to see how that pans out for Li Ming. Obviously, a nerf for her. Down to Samuro, who isn't really seeing any play. Did he get played? I didn't see a single game with him at GCWC that I can think of.
One time for sure. I don't remember if he won.
I'm gonna check that list really quick.
I think he did win once in GCWC, but he only got picked once, if I'm not mistaken.
Interesting. Well, he's getting cooldown increased for Windwalk, the damage per second reduced on Blade Storm, so they're nerfing his ult just base. And I think generally speaking, when he was played in GCWC, it wasn't Blade Storm, right? Illusion
No,
Master.
I think it was.
Oh wow.
I was really surprised. I don't remember who used it though. There were so many games at GCWC.
There were a lot of games. Sorry for the VOD listeners that just heard the hyper. Thanks for the sub-hype Midnight Rumbler. Continuing on, down to Way of the Blade, the crit damage has been nerfed, and the spell block mitigation has also been reduced at level 4 for Mirage. So it's just nerfs across the board. I feel like this is based on ladder, these changes, since he's seen so little play in competitive.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Blizzard knows something about Samuro that we don't, or if the nerf to globals makes him like a spicier pick or anything like that. Because I remember he looked good with Illusion Master because you could just send his, clear the wave, and then he could be in the team fight like a Vikings at 10. But now I just feel like that's nerfed, so I'm not really sure how to play him anymore, is why I feel like he's never picked.
That sucks.
Yeah. I think he's not picked because he doesn't provide anything to a team that another melee assassin doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a really vulnerable target. So to me, he felt like a Zeratul with less utility. I'm not even joking. Obviously he does more damage than a Zeratul, but in order for him to do a lot of that damage, he needs the position. So it's probably different in Hero League. In Hero League, you can get away with a lot more.
Yeah.
But in competitive, it's just Samuro to me was just a free kill most of the time. Before they nerfed his first initial nerf to damage, he felt way too strong just because his auto attacks were out of control. But that first initial, once they hit his auto attack damage, that hits everything he does. So then he felt okay, and they just keep nerfing him now. And I think it's because of his success in Hero League. I don't see him much in GM, so I don't know if it's like a mid-level play that they're adjusting him for. So.
Yeah, they don't really balance for GM. Typically, the whole ladder, and GM is the smallest part of the ladder.
Oh my god.
Okay, well, Samuro, we'll have to see, how he evolves for competitive play, what we end up seeing once teams, learn him a bit better, if anything, and where he'll sit in the quick match games. But obviously, they're tuning him based on their stats. Down to Zeratul. Zeratul's he just got the rework. He's been seeing a ton of play. He's risen to be easily a top assassin once again, like easily, maybe the best. I mean, it's arguable for sure, and they're giving him some love. I mean, Shadowhunter actually gets a bit of love. The ability power on Grim Task goes up. Mending Strikes did get nerfed a little bit. I guess maybe they were seeing some stats where like Shadow Assault plus Mending Strikes was too strong or something. Even without that, Mending Strikes was still like probably the most common talent, I would say, even if you're going VP. So they're probably just trying to get some talent diversity in level 13, and then Void Slash getting some more damage at level 16 with the talent there.
Yeah,
he's scary dunk.
No, he's insane. I mean, I think we saw it pretty conclusively at GCWC. Like, it seems like every global Zeratul is just insane, and this one is no exception. It was definitely aided by the fact that the rework happened, but he just seems bonkers right now.
Even in the NA qualifiers, he was crazy successful.
They took out what made him bad. His you had to play for his later game where he had like wormhole and stuff like that, but now he's just sticky all the time.
Yeah.
So he's always a threat now.
I mean, how many heroes have that kind of option like level 1 where he has like tons of like jukes and mobility, burst and ranged, like he's all over the place. Wait, beards versus no beards? Oh, it totally is beards versus no beards. The struggle. So actually, Urho, Insomnia, have either of you guys like played a fair bit of Insomnia of Varian?
Yeah. Yeah, I played a lot of Varian, most like in scrims mostly. He feels way different in Hero League. In Hero League, you get away with everything on that hero, but in scrims, he kind of gets countered. In like his one-shot build, people learned how to counter it a little bit more with certain heroes like Brightwing Polymorph, and then his sustain build with Fury Double Sword, you kite him or you just stun lock him and he can't heal. And then his taunt build just doesn't feel like a tank because his gap closer is on such a long cooldown. So like all of his builds just feel like there's another tank or DPS or something that does it better right now. Basically,
can't discount the fact that he's basically useless pre-level 10.
Yeah, pre-10 he sucks. Yep. Yeah.
But yeah, I have to echo like the dual wheel build. If you look at what it does, you have to be actively hitting things constantly for that build to be good, and CC counters it. I mean, he's basically, to me, he's an Illidan without as much mobility.
The mobility.
Yeah, and his blow up build I think is his best build competitively, but there's just a lot of ways to stop it right now, like especially with Tyrael being in the meta. So yeah, that's about it.
Makes me sad, man. He seems like such a cool hero, but I think you guys hit the nail on the head. I mean, I've talked to a few other people, and they all echo the same thing. I've only played him a fair bit myself, but like you said, in Hero League, you can actually, like late game Varian, you feel like you demolish people in Hero League. You just go to town and you don't get punished. But the moment you see Varian versus coordinated play, he just evaporates and he feels like a worse Sonya if you go the Fury build even. Like not even Illidan. Like I wouldn't even, I think that's giving him too much credit for what I've seen at least. Like sure, he gets mobility, but she's got Ancient Spear, bit of a longer cooldown, but still has good utility, and she can and technically go through walls and stuff, which gives her options. And Heroic Leap, are you eating that cursor? Oh, I gotta fix that.
It's okay.
I like.
Thought that was funny. I don't mind. You can put it there. That's funny.
I forgot that I had to reset up the whole show since I'm using a different streaming setup this week. Anyways, well, let's go through some of the patch notes they've done for Varian here. So the mana cost on Lion's Fang has gone down. The slow amount has been increased. So they're trying to give some love towards a potential Q build, which would just be like safer CC, I guess, Johanna-esque if you were to build them tanky. The quest talent at level 1 adds the slow up to 50% or something?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they buffed it here too.
It's actually really good once you cap it out. If you're going tank build, it's just a matter of getting to level 10 if you're going tank build.
Right.
And not being 8 levels behind.
They took the cooldown on parry down, which is good. Yeah, I mean, the taunt, they gave him more health. They're trying to make the tank build more viable. These are all good changes, especially but let's just talk about level 4. Like, you go between the Invuln, which now is an 8-second cooldown versus 10, so it's a little bit more. Baseline is just better. And then now the cooldown reduction is 8 seconds, so that's an 8-second stun. Isn't that still, like, so shitty that his level... Is that his basic ability is still a 16-second cooldown for the charge?
I think so. I mean, I think it's just pretty much the worst gap closer on any melee that doesn't have hard CC in the game. Like, if you look at... Is there even anyone that's 16 that's like a melee assassin? I'm trying to think of one. Even like Butcher Charge is shorter than that.
Yeah. 14 seconds for Ruthless Onslaught?
Yeah.
16 seconds for a Stitch's Hook? That's the only other thing, right?
Yeah, as
Just
far as
about,
basic
yeah.
abilities go. I feel like if the base cooldown was just short and the like ability just added the stun, maybe it would be different. But it's not like the upgraded W is bad. It's just like you can't give up the stun, it feels like.
Yeah.
I don't know. They needed to make the base. His charges needs to be better in general, so that way if you don't take the charge talent, you don't feel like you're punishing yourself.
Mm-hmm. If the stun was on an 8-second cooldown or something like that, and then still did that slow, you could still stun and stuff off of that, and then take shield wall. But you need Warbringer, which doesn't give you shield wall, so it kind of sucks right now.
I just think the E should just be like a half a second stun baseline, then a slow afterwards, and then if you take the talent, it increases this slow duration and the stun duration or something,
Yeah, that makes sense too.
He just feels so weird without that talent.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be a really hard hero to find the balance in, because obviously he's the first multi-class hero they've ever put in the game, and they're trying to make him a tank and an assassin, but they don't want him to be like this monstrosity that can do everything and kill everyone and just be like the ultimate weapon. Beyond this, how do you feel about these changes? Do you think it's in the right direction for the balance of him?
Not really. I don't personally, no. I mean, like I said, I think they need to make the baseline E stronger. They need to make his base kit stronger, I think, overall, for him to be considered really strong, in my opinion. But right now, he's just kind of eh. I mean, if I want a stun tank, I'll just go ETC Muradin. Or if I want something that can get into the backline. Like, I'll even take Tyrael over Varian in like 99 out of 100 cases. Unless, only other cases, maybe if I'm against a Tracer. Because the taunt is pretty good, the point-click stun, and the taunt's pretty good against Tracer, but still rather have Tyrael. I'd rather take Tyrael to deny the Tracer comp. Still, like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I would take new Diablo over Varian, to be honest.
I hear the thought. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Dude,
happy.
all they changed was his auto attacks, like the responsiveness, right?
So far. There's an actual rework on PTR, isn't there? But the auto attack change went live.
Yeah, the
If I'm
auto
not
attack
mistaken.
is live.
Oh,
but
I haven't-
Yeah, there is a rework on PTI.
I have
He's
not
a-
tried that yet.
He's a
You got to.
Diablo god. Like, they have to do something with the hero. If not, he's first pick, first ban. He's so good.
Mhm.
That's so funny. All right, well, we are still looking at the current patch notes that are here on the live server. Going down the list, Nazebo, they increased the missile speed of the spiders, which is that back what it used to be? Because when they changed spiders so that it was single target damage or whatever target it hits, they nerfed the movement speed of the missile, and I think they've literally just reverted it back to what it was.
seems possible. I haven't played with the tweak to know for sure.
I'm not really a Nazebo main, I'll be honest with you.
Damn, somewhere KO is crying. KO loves Nazebo.
Nazebo in 2016. Like, the hero's been so bad for so long. Even after the rework, he was just kind of meh.
Have you tried Towards the Fusionist?
Yeah, it's
There's
okay.
just other heroes that do it better.
I mean, like I said, he's fun. He's one of my favorite ranged heroes. He's probably my favorite specialist. But like, if I'm trying to win a game, I'm gonna pick something else. If I'm being perfectly honest with you.
That's fair.
So, yeah, that's it. Like, that's me from a competitive standpoint. Like, if you're, just trying to have fun, he's a lot of fun. Makes cool noises. Kind of a trolly hero. Like, I love that hero. He's fun.
Reason to play
Nazebo.
Nazebo. He has
Like, if this were an MMORPG or for role playing, like, I'm dressing up like Nazebo. Like, I'm going to conventions dressed up like Nazebo. Like,
so Laura, you need to get this to happen and take lots of pictures. Okay. Brightwing global nerfed phase shift down to 55 seconds. That used to be 30 seconds when Brightwing was first a hero. Am I mistaken? I feel like they've nerfed phase shift like multiple times. This time I went 45 to 55. I think it used to be like 30 seconds when they reworked her the first time. But the current global meta, obviously Blizzard's responding to it and saying, look, globals have such a huge impact on the game. We want to take some of that power away. Going down the list to Karazim, we can see Breath of Heaven. They've increased the move speed on that. I mean, that's neat. I guess Iron Fist is getting a nerf. DPS Karazim seeing huge success. Earth Ally, I think this probably has like 100% pick rate in competitive if Karazim's ever used. Super powerful talent.
So good.
Yeah.
Even with this change, I think it's still amazingly good. Wouldn't be surprised if it ends up at a minute, to be completely honest with you. And like,
I mean, it's way more powerful than like Protective Shield, that's for sure.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
It really helps his lack of cleanse. It's taken away at 7 too.
That and I don't know, it's like the same talent tier as like a healing ward, and it just seems like better than a healing ward in almost any situation. So, and then movement speed bonus and Heavenly Zeal buffed. So some nice love there. Nubarak's getting some health back. Diablo gets a responsiveness in the live patch, which is nice. I didn't even realize Stitches got. They might have added this in. I didn't see that before. I don't know if that really matters. And then Sanctification got nerfed.
yeah, I wonder how that will impact things, because we saw Tyrael end up with almost 100% involvement rate at the end of GCWC.
Yep.
I think he'll still be played a lot, like, because they've nerfed ETC and Muradin quite a bit in terms of HP. Like, Tyrael right now, to me, is almost the best tank in the game, despite what most of my NA counterparts think. I think Tyrael is, like, first pick, first man. For me, I'm just like, team, just give me Tyrael. Like, so everything, like, it's like at level 13, I feel like a god, because I can just get on the backline target if I need to.
Yeah.
Because I've played so much Tyrael, I've actually gotten really good at Sank. Since I started playing Tyrael like the past like 2-3 weeks, and I started getting really good at Sanctification. I feel like I can have a huge impact on the fight with it. So maybe the cooldown increase will hurt him a bit, but I feel like it's still gonna be up every team fight, and that's the point. Like 100 seconds, 100 seconds. Like, as long, like, just don't fight till Sank's up. That's completely doable. 100 second cooldowns, nothing compared to, like, some of the 110, 120 second cooldowns. So I do want to talk about the Stitch change though. The tank player, that Fleabag talent is actually Stitches is starting to see a little bit more play if there's not like some of the stun tanks are available. If you just need a tanky frontline target, Stitches is the best option you have right now. So the Fleabag talent is actually really good if you have reliable procs on it. And I've used it in scrims and in Hero League before, to the point where I just have like a 4-second cooldown E. Like, I can just slam in a team fight. So that buff is actually pretty interesting, actually.
Yeah, that was you that went the full slam build past week, right?
No, I think that was Sray. It was on.
That was definitely Sray.
Towers of Doom. Yeah.
Very successful. I mean, it was fun to watch it. Even
Yeah.
we haven't seen.
We knew we knew they were going to cheese on the map, but we just didn't expect that cheese. Like, we thought, like, hey, they want to play Vikings, and then they bust out the Medivh Stitches. And we're like, oh, okay, close game. That was a fun game.
It was really fun. A little chaotic, but it was
fun.
Certainly a fun one. Nah, that's the fake fan chat. One thing I wanted to, just before we go into the patch notes, once again, let you guys know about our Gladius event and then our Matcherino campaign. I'm going to post it in the chat here because we did just push it live. Just going to plug the crap out of this since we just launched it. We only have a week to. So shameless plugs 2017 / it's not 2017 yet. Gladius is... It's up. You can click that link in chat. Again, you can donate $1 for free by using the coupon Gladius, GLADIUS on the chat. And then there's several products you can buy that all benefit the event. If you buy some of these shirts, the monitor, if it's actually an official Matcherino sponsor thing, then all of the money goes into the prize pool because this is like a Matcherino sponsor dealie. And if you buy something that's from someone else, like let's say SteelSeries, a portion of the profit, I think $40 goes towards the headphones purchase, and then $15 would go into Gladius if you were to buy those. So really cool new system there. And plug come pre-2, but that's the new 3v3 ARAM. Let's transition from patch notes to PTR patch notes.
More patch notes.
And yeah, this is in fact, you can play this now if you guys are out of the loop for some reason. Ragnaros has entered the Nexus. Let's get Ragnaros' first impressions, starting with you, Insomnia.
I don't know. I'm in try mode with him right now, and he feels like he does a lot in the melee role. He has a ranged poke, kind of fits like an Alarak role as well. I haven't had a chance to play him in, I guess, a real game. Obviously, everything really feels strong and overrated in quick match. Like, I thought Varian was going to be super insane, and then he just kind of hit, like, very lackluster, I guess. But then, right now, I'm having the most fun with, like, buffing the heal on Q and then being super tanky with E, because you can buff, you can put Blast Wave, which is this E, on tank targets and speed them up and then slow people down. It just feels like a very utility melee assassin at the moment. But his damage feels really high, but in a real game, you can't really walk up as easily to be able to actually hit his Qs, and he feels pretty weak. So I'm actually not really sure how much he's going to live if he actually has to go frontline all the time.
If we had to look at him in like a map-to-map scenario, maybe he's not good at all maps. You look at something like Infernal Shrines, all three of his abilities are technically splash damage. Doesn't that seem like he would be pretty darn good for a map like that?
He seems like he could counter, maybe contest into like the Kerrigan engage, but I guess if you ban Kerrigan and then maybe contest Ragnaros, he kind of has really good shrine pressure and shrine clear. But if you just hard engage onto him, he kind of feels like he gets punished. He's not as safe as like Kerrigan is. But it really depends.
Urho, how do you feel about Rag?
I think he sucks. Just straight up. I get it. Like, he's a tanky. He's basically a melee caster, right? Like, one of his abilities requires him to be in his highest DPS cooldown requires him to be in melee range. And what do we know about melees that don't have good mobility or are really tanky? They're useless. Like, I think his passive's pretty cool. Kind of unique. I think the Lava Wave ult would be pretty good synergy on maps where you have very large push mechanics like Raxus. I don't know how well I don't know yet. I don't think he's going to match up well against a lot of the dominant 1v1 laners right now. For example, in like Dragonshire or Braxis. From a competitive standpoint, I don't think he's going to be very good. I could be wrong though. Based on we've been screaming PTR, and I haven't. Anytime he's picked, that he just loses. Maybe because we don't know how to play him yet, but he just feels underwhelming. Yes, he does damage, but there's also, other melee assassins that can deal damage and have more utility and won't die, and won't absorb all your team's defensive resources. So,
Dunk, have you tried him at all?
Excuse me, did you ask me?
Yeah. Have you played any Rag yourself?
I played one game with him on PTR, and I think he might be okay, but I pretty much agree with Urho. I think he's just a little awkward as a melee caster. with no or very limited mobility. Like, I'm not sure how much he has in all of his talents, but it feels like he doesn't really have mobility options that are meaningful, which is always a big concern for me when I'm looking at melees.
Well, I
Historically.
think. Sorry, go ahead. My bad.
No,
I didn't mean to interrupt.
go for it. I was just gonna
I
say
mean-
historically melees without mobility are not very good.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I think if you're going to build him, his level 4 catching fire talent's almost needed, and like you want to go E build just so you can stay in the fight longer. You just want to get as many Qs off as you can. Ideally, he might be good against like double tank comps though.
Yeah, I could see that. Where like he's not under threat when he steps up.
Right, he can deal most of his damage from because the other team has double tank.
Yeah.
He kind of feels
Maybe.
a lot like Thrall, but his heal's on a melee instead of, range poke. So it's a little bit different.
Right.
Apparently my computer is lagging like a boat. Rip the dream.
Boats lag?
Dude, have you ever seen a boat in the sea? They lag back and forth all day. Well, yeah, it's sad to hear that because honestly, I think he seems really cool, but I think he's going to be a menace for certain scenarios. Like you think about Lava Wave. If you do have the, Braxis holdout, seems like it has a lot of impact there. Also, since there's only 2 lanes, that it's a little bit more contained, and Molten Core does seem like it'll be pretty darn good.
Yeah, and the talking about him in competitive is not a slight on the fact that I think like thematically he's actually really awesome.
Oh, he's
like he looks
of
cool,
course.
he sounds cool. Molten Core is a sweet ability.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how much impact any of that stuff has on competitive, but for like just playing him, it's sweet. And he's like one of the characters that I think most people have wanted for the longest time in the game. So it's awesome that he's showing up, and I think he's really well made from that perspective. I think just from a competitive tuning perspective, still up in the air.
Yeah, I really want to try him on like Braxis or something, where you spawn a decent sized Zerg wave and then you just throw a lava wave down that lane. Like I think it could almost guarantee certain structures. But then again, so can Sylve, but
Yeah.
we'll see. But from the casual, more of like a Hero League standpoint or even a quick match standpoint, he's a lot of fun. He's cool. Like his passive feels like an ult alone. So.
Okay. Just a few other generic changes that are hitting in the PTR. Healing Fountain's invulnerable in brawls. Braxis holdout Zerg rush. If you don't get any percent, you at least get 6 Zerglings instead of 3. Nice. And the scaling of the warheads and warhead junction has been implemented where it's just 70 damage per minute. And then rather than the one big jump at the 18-minute marker, and the inner is still a bonus damage. So really good change, I think, for that map as a whole. Oh, they nerfed them. I didn't even realize that. So they're trying to increase the game. Like they actually nerfed the damage a good bit for the opening point. But again, they're just going to keep scaling. So I don't know how that really translates. Chromie, a hero that we did see played a few times recently. Did Chromie get played in? I thought she got played in Gold Club. Did she not? And then I know Chew Ate My Hot Doge played her once.
If she did, it must have been on the other stream during Round
For some
Robin, which
reason,
we didn't get to catch all those games, but definitely not in Knockout.
Yeah. I didn't think it was in the actual last phase, but for some reason I thought I remember hearing. Oh well, maybe I'm crazy. I'll accept my insanity. These changes for her, Peer into the Future, was taken away. They added the functionality. Did they just build it in? Yeah, they just built it into Time Walker's Pursuit at level 1. So they're giving her a little bit of love. Oh, shit. I didn't read her
I don't
trait.
know how well her time walk, she gets a 2-level reduction now for her talents, which is kind of insane for quick match and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't really
Ult at
know.
level 8?
So,
Tried her
ult at
PTR.
8, yeah.
Is, man. I don't know. It's just like the thing with Chromie. I feel like I don't know. We tried her on PTR and we lost with her because she's Chromie. Like I don't know. It's like we got Chromie has their ult now at level 8, but our team doesn't. Like I don't know. I feel like when you balance because you have to balance Chromie around the fact that she has that ult early. So I don't know. She just feels awkward to me. Always has. I think she has some use on Pokemon like Towers of Doom, maybe. But I don't think it's a big change. Not going to make her more viable, in my opinion.
What about Pyroblast and Kael'thas? Sorry, don't go ahead.
Well, I don't know. I was just trying to figure out if there's like any really critical timings that might show up because of the extra level, but I feel like
Cursed Hollow, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Because usually there's the third curse is usually around level 10,
Right.
Yeah.
and it might help you secure the second one. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, in theory, Sky Temple, second temple phase, sometimes it could be something.
You already had your heroic most of the time on second temple phase, I feel like.
But if you're bodying, you body even more.
Yeah, maybe.
Wait, second temple is usually around like level 7 or 8, I think.
It's usually like 8, 9. I feel like
Chromie on Sky Temple though. That's nasty.
Yeah,
that's so nasty. Like think about that. Like, oh, we have Chromie. No. I don't know.
We'll see.
All right, Pyroblast, getting the buffs. It's now Swole Blast, and it only takes 1.5 seconds to cast as a longer cast range. It's going to slay nerds at the lower level for sure, but it's going to be probably the same status with the pro scene. I mean, I can't imagine Pyroblast becoming meta or making Kael'thas meta.
Yeah, I mean, Pyro's probably not it.
I mean, Phoenix provides a lot of utility for pushing, defending. A well-placed Phoenix in a team fight will... A well-placed Phoenix in a team fight will turn the course of a team fight most of the time. But, yeah. Not a good chance. It's a buff to it, so...
Yeah, I mean, it's something, right?
30%. Yeah.
Well,
I can't wait for someone to try and cast max range Pyroblast, and it actually takes like probably 20 seconds to reach them. Like increased range, just walk away the whole time, get to your Hall of Storms.
Yeah.
Like you can recall in the time it takes to get.
Yeah, probably.
If you could, like, we probably have to bolt or something, but like bolt Hearth and just wait in the Hall of Storms. It's still taking you out of the fight for a while. At least,
that's
right?
probably longer than your death timer, to be honest, if you wait for that.
Oh, it's so funny. I hope it happens to someone, and I would watch it and giggle. Bestow hope. You can the ally that's affected by it can now see a little crown on their head. They can feel like they went to Burger King and be happy about it. Rhaegar. Oh yeah, let's talk about Rhaegar, friends. This is the good stuff. They upped his basic attack damage. Now, Rhaegar's a hero who once upon a time was a melee battle support. He's always been a melee support. And back in the day, you'd see Rhaegar as being a little bit more in your face, and then oftentimes, Dunk Train, Bakery, whoever that pro Rhaegar god in the middle is, cast that ancestral heal and gets out of it. They in a way, they become the target. Well, ever since they took ancestral away from Rhaegar, that has not been a thing. He's just sits in the back, runs around in his Doge form, getting that Feral Heart mana and throwing out chain heals. If you guys didn't realize, I like Rhaegar a lot. He's kind of like, he's kind of my boy. Well, they're upping his damage. They're increasing the damage in Lightning Shield, and then Bloodlust. What a good ability! Holy shit, what a good ability! Even better now. Look at that, 30% healing on all targets affected by Bloodlust. You think about Vala with Bloodlust. You don't like your life when you're fighting a Vala with Bloodlust because she ain't dying. You think about Earthquake Thrall with Bloodlust. Oh, that Thrall ain't gonna die ever. He's gonna hit you with Wind Fury. He's gonna be full health the whole goddamn fight.
Jake, I have a question for you.
Yeah, what's up?
How much damage does Vala do if she's dead?
0.
Yes.
Yeah, but
That's exactly how I Oh my God.
I don't because 30% is a lot. Like I don't know. I guess if you have an Illidan comp and the other team for whatever reason didn't draft very much CC, it's just I don't know. Maybe it's a nice little buff though. I think I like to see that they're trying to make some of the lesser popular alts viable. I think that's really important. I think them buffing talents in general and trying to make other alts viable is really important to the I guess overall fun factor of the game. So I like that.
Yeah.
That was just the level 20 upgrade now, right? They just made the level 20 upgrade baseline and then buffed the level 20 upgrade to be double of that.
Yes, level 20 is at 60%, which is like ridiculous.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Does that actually I'm not actually sure if it works like how damage mitigation does. If you can actually go like Task Rhaegar Bloodlust and have 100% lifesteal. I don't know if it actually works like that.
Maybe.
I don't know if I've tried stacking lifesteal, but I imagine it would work because Task's lifesteal shield stacks with lifesteal talents.
Yeah, I have no idea. This is like all hypothetical speaking, but I guess that would be maybe the only way it would work because you have Rhaegar with usually Illidan comps, but then again, you're not taking Ancestral and they just shit on Illidan, so I don't really know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like as much as Illidan seems like the ideal target for this, I don't know if he has the escape for it. Like that's why I was thinking more heroes like Vala and heroes.
Raynor.
Raynor, yeah, absolutely. Like I'm not even kidding. It's interesting too because like when you feral lunge that bonus damage, it gives Rhaegar a pretty nice heal. So if he does need to dive in, like it with Bloodlust active, it's a pretty nice little heal that comes through. But oh well. We'll have to see. I obviously am very hopeful to see where it goes.
What if they made Bloodlust so that it reduces the damage you take a little bit too, like by like 10%? I feel like it needs something a little bit extra in order to be compared.
I still think it should go to Thrall, and Rhaegar should have Earthquake. If Thrall had Bloodlust, and then
yeah,
Rhaegar
we've
had
talked about
Earthquake,
that before on the show.
that'd be so sick.
I could see that being a thing.
Yeah.
So I think it's it's awesome. It's like huge. Everyone on your team just gets really angry and red and big, and like it's awesome. From
It's
a
just
viewer
they put it
standpoint.
next to Ancestral, and it's so weird.
Yeah. On a support, nonetheless, too. It just feels. I think the biggest change with Rhaegar though is his auto attack damage and lightning shield buff, because that makes him a much better jungler. Like he's already a good jungler. Now it's like our team needs something to clear mercs or just to camp mercs in general. Now Rhaegar can just do it exclusively.
Yeah.
The Stormcaller level 4 talent is actually also a big deal. I haven't mathed it out, but the fact that you can get it from a creep wave means that your lightning shield is basically 0 mana on mercenaries and creeps, which is like pretty huge.
We did it Infernal Shrines, I think it was. Our Rhaegar had infinite mana.
Yeah.
He said it felt really, really good on Infernal.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Now also increases the duration of Earthbind Totem from 8 to 12 seconds.
Yeah, that's the repositioning one that nobody takes because cleanse.
That's pretty good though.
It's really not. Like nobody sticks in one area long enough for even 8 seconds of Earthbind to matter. I feel like I don't know, and it just dies to incidental AOE. Like I don't think that makes the talent good.
Yeah.
But anything you put against cleanse there is going to be pretty laughable anyway. With the nature of Rhaegar, I feel like, and the melee assassins he tends to be paired with, especially need cleanse.
I wonder if they're going to revert any of these changes like they have to Rhaegar in the past. I feel like they buff his auto attacks, and then something like this happened last time where he became so alpha as a healer that they had to tone him down. And that happened not too long ago. And now it feels like the 120 feels pretty similar of a number of what it used to be.
Maybe.
Now they're just putting it right back to where it was.
Well, now that he can't self-ancestral, like, probably won't be a problem.
Yeah.
That's 21 extra auto attack damage.
Yeah, that's a huge buff.
And then especially on his dog bite.
Yeah, that directly buffs his passive as well. Which I hope they fix his passive soon.
Oh yeah, where you're chasing heroes and you can't bite. Yeah.
It's even worse. Like we were playing some game and Tiger JK, our support, like he bit someone in the middle of the game and like his character got stuck in wolf form. Like the bug's even worse now, and like he just stood there and like stuck in, like he couldn't move. Like he was like stuck in the lunge animation for like 3 seconds and he just died. And we're like,
so bad.
You're chasing as the lunge. Yeah.
It's like what is going on? Then I saw some Reddit thing where he like some Rhaegar lunged at like the fort wall and then like got stuck behind the wall. Like what is going on with that passive? That's insane. That never used to be in the game. Like how it just came out of nowhere. I don't know.
It happens with Greymane too. Greymane can go over walls with E. If he angles like over, it's like you just leap over the small wall in the tower. It's so weird.
Damn.
I think it can happen to Cho'Gall as well with Surging Fist. I think you can go through walls sometimes, but oh well, this is not bug report discussion. Doug, I guess the final thing to talk about with Rhaegar is Farseer's Blessing. Almost never picked. It's the splash heal on that target that like flows over is now up to 50% of an ancestral. So if your team was to clump for whatever reason, you could in theory do a clump ancestral. Is there ever a case where you would want that, or is the snap like, Storm Shield just too viable?
I don't think that clumping up to make your ancestral healing splash is exactly where you want to be. I'm just gonna throw it out there. Like I don't think that's where you want to be. I've taken that talent to troll people, but I don't think it's just not a real effect. Maybe if they made it do something else, it would be cool, or like 100% splash and you're running like double or triple tank, then like I could see a universe where you play it, but like it's just not.
It's not.
Maybe if it was like a larger AoE as well, but it's a pretty tight stack.
It is really
when you could just take Storm Shield.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess the only situation I can kind of see is when you out of a VP, but you're in the VP too, so it's weird. It's like
we're all in the VP now. All right, rip that. I was just fixing that stream. Artanis got some nice changes, if I must say so myself. I mean, Artanis can actually make plays. Woohoo! Urho, you're smiling. You're excited.
No, it's just I'm excited.
Those Artanis plays, boys.
So you can effectively use your Phase Prism while in your Blade Dash, and I'll be honest, I haven't tried him yet. Have you guys tested him out at all?
Yeah. I'm a little underwhelmed. He's still pretty underwhelming. He's still Artanis, It's cool. He's got more utility, but I mean, Warriors are my thing, I guess, and he doesn't have CC. It's like, if you look at all of his counterparts, what is he, more towards the Bruiser side of Warriors? Because he's not really, I guess he's best comparable to what Sonya does in a game, and I feel like Sonya just does it better. Obviously, Artanis is tankier, but, I mean, he's not a threat. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm. You're not going to be spooked when he... Yeah.
He's easily, because his trait depends on him auto-attacking, so he can be kited or he can be CC'd, and you can still kill him. So I just feel like he's still Artanis. Just Emperor's New Clothes, like, oh, look, he can do cool things with a Z now, but when it comes down to him actually having to hit things, still Artanis.
Urho, do you hate fun?
Yeah, I'm an anti-fun player.
I feel like it's... Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I wonder if they were nervous about the buffs, and that's why they preemptively nerfed his shield a little bit. But it was just a random thought. Go ahead.
I feel like his Blade Dash plus E, the swap gap close on that is actually like pretty insane. It kind of feels like a Stitches hook, and he does more damage. Like if you max gap close the Q, and then you swap, you can put somebody like all the way, almost like wall to wall on like a mid fort. So it's kind of insane. But then you're at their wall.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's like I'm not actually sure. So
it's gonna have 6 synergy.
Cool. Yeah.
When they put a healer in that has life grip that can grip you back, then we're talking.
Yeah, and like reflective shield or something. What's up, Artanis?
Or you just run Artanis Stitches, and Stitches friendly hooks him back. Like,
you can just take one.
you know how you really do that? You E swap into a Stitches hook into a Gorge into a Medivh portal. You can bring him back to your Nexus. There you go.
And then how do you kill the target?
No, it doesn't matter.
Well, he's in your keep. Like he's by the Nexus.
Just make sure it's like a Kael'thas or something, so you're good. And they can't blink out. Guys, did you see my slippers? I got this new hoodie today, or this new sweater that's got Murlocs on it, and I also got
your sweater. Oh my god.
That was the weirdest thing I've ever done. Put my foot in the stream. I will never do that again.
Guys, have you seen my slippers? Like,
at least they know it's not recorded.
anyone watching the actual or listening to the MP3 is just like so concerned as to what just happened. They're little cute but deadly Murloc slippers. Okay. So Artanis, yeah, a lot of changes. You mentioned the shield got nerfed. Obviously, you can use the E in the shield. There's a full list of changes here. I'm not going to go through everyone because he's basically gotten a full-on rework. How do you guys feel about the Dahaka changes?
I guess that's not me. Let's see. I think the most interesting changes is level 13 chains to they got rid of Rolling Dervish, which those of you that don't know, level 13 talent that while his W is active, he took reduced CC duration from roots and stuns, I believe. Mm-hmm. And they now make targets affected by his W take 15% more damage from all sources. Huge change. They're making Dahaka kind of this split push, more of a brawler type. Like if you're in his dead zone, you're dead. Like I feel like that's a really cool feel to the hero. His burrow changes were obviously good. I think they buffed one of his E talents at level 4, which by the way, I don't think is that good. I believe that Hero Stalker is not better. I think it's 150%. Oh, it's reduced. Never mind.
Yeah, it's reduced.
But Essence Collection from Minions is still his best talent, in my opinion, because of just how he's played. He splits, he gets stacks from splitting, and then he burrows into a team fight. But the E talent's definitely. I'll have to mess around with it since I think they've merged the functionality of that talent and another talent, or just added functionality. I don't really know what to do with it, but I haven't had a chance to really mess around with it. Simply because I feel like if I don't have the minion collection, I don't have enough.
Right.
Essence enough of the time.
That's exactly how I felt about it.
Yeah.
Because the E knockback when you burrow, because you can cancel your burrow now. It felt like ETC knockback, but not taking untalented. Yeah, not taking the either minion collection or hero collection. You feel like you're always essence starved. Because not taking primal aggression to either, take 40% less damage or anything like that, you almost feel pretty squishy because you always feel like you're essence starved. But you do have the knockback with the slow, and then at 16 you can burrow with that and move under burrow.
Yeah.
If you take the
full
tunneling
movement speed?
pumps.
Well, an E?
Yeah, it's full whatever your brush stalker movement speed is.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. I don't know. You can go under, obviously walls and stuff like that. You can get behind them, knock them back into your team. But I feel like the best change to him is the Primal Swarm, like you were talking about. He does feel like he has a dead zone. Because you tongue somebody and then they all take increased damage. And then it felt really good with Symbiosis too, because then you almost have 100% uptime of increased damage. So maybe you just take him as like a, a bruiser with like insane, sustain with adaptation. But he also felt really weird without isolation. So I think I just need more time with him. But he feels cool. Not having Hardened Shield is pretty detrimental too, actually.
Yeah, I think that's actually a huge thing.
Yeah, harden shit out. That's big. New talent essence clause. His attack slows. Yeah, they basically have him Nexus, or what is it called? Nexus Blades or whatever.
Nexus Blades, yeah.
Yeah.
Basic attacks grant Dahaka essence. Yeah, I like that. I mean, I think you should. I don't know. It's kind of weird because I always hate building a hero. Like, yeah, I'll take adaptation because at level 20 I want to take essence clause. I feel like that's not. You should never pick a hero because you want to go a certain build at 20. So I haven't I've probably played like 3-4 sets, maybe three sets of scrims on PTR so far. So it's really hard for me to tell. I think his W build's still the best with Essence Collection at 4. The 16 movement talent while on E is probably in some situations better than the tongue drag range. It just depends on if you feel as if you need to have movement while burrowed if you're gonna die. So that's actually pretty good.
Can't go through walls, it looks like.
Well, check the enemy walls.
Can you go over
through
like towers? Because I don't think you can go over gates.
No, yeah, don't think so.
Nothing? Oh.
That's a wall that you can go over with other people. Nope.
Yeah, can't go.
Broken
okay.
hero.
The amount of time that would be useful is probably so low.
Yeah, right.
Well, I would give him a different, like a second kind of mobility that I think that would just give him too much utility.
It's more of like a mobile ice block.
Yeah.
That's what his burrow feels like now. Baseline is why it's kind of a better change. is that you can actually cancel your own E and counter their setup of stuns, kind of.
Yeah.
So it does feel like a baseline ice block kind of damage mitigation. But still, I don't feel like you can take him as a solo warrior because he doesn't have a mount. So it always feels like you're lacking, because I know that was what their main plan was, is to try to make him a solo warrior. But not having your warrior in rotation as fast as you guys are is pretty weird sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the changes because he's always using double warrior anyways. And now he just feels like he has a directed purpose. Because before I felt like they were trying to make him a tank. Now I feel like they're just trying to make him a bruiser, which is what he was being taken for anyway. So I like that change.
It's fun.
I think the adaptation buffs are quietly like actually a really big deal too.
Yeah, it's like, really good now. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've actually started to see people use adaptation a little bit too in the recent events. So the fact that you can, regain all of the damage taken during that time frame, and you can quickly, burrow and then remove it or whatever. Like, there's a lot of snap call plays you can make a little bit more responsive, because the forced duration of the burrow was kind of annoying, I think, in a lot of situations. And it'll be fun. I think he'll have the playmaker potential, and I really like the fact that they're living up the whole global presence with him. Be fun to see what he can do. Diablo, this is something we were talking about just a bit earlier. Obviously, auto attacks live on the live server, but PTR has this rework. I have not yet seen him in action. Now, you guys are saying he's the god. Explain to me why he's the god.
Oh man, look at those changes. Well, if you look at the changes, just as like an overall, they reduced his damage, but they made him just tankier. If you look at, they buffed his trait, which if you don't know what his trait does, he gets max health per soul he has. They've doubled it. They made his fire stomp his W basically baseline have the level 13 talent he used to have. So his fire waves return to him, I'm pretty sure.
So good, yeah.
Yeah.
It's so good.
They nerfed his auto attack damage, which you're thinking, oh no, but if you looked at his auto attack damage before, he had way more auto attack damage than any other tank in the game to begin with, so they kind of normalized it.
Wait, where does it say they nerfed his auto damage?
Oh, I'm sorry. No,
the charge damage.
The shadow charge, yeah, I'm sorry. But what they did is they add functionality to the shadow charge. And
right, that's
you
really
someone,
good.
It reduces the, you have a 25% resistance for 2 seconds.
And if you get him into a wall, there's huge benefits. It's kind of like a detainment strike. They're trying to own up that narrative where if Diablo is pinning into a wall, that's a huge buff in damage. So you're talking 225 damage if they're going into a wall. It's really nice.
I could have swore they reduced his auto attack damage. I guess I just misread these earlier.
No, I mean, it's easy to do. There's a lot of lines of text.
Yeah.
So block's gone, Devil's Due, new functionality, basically a block. No. It makes your healing fountain better. Okay, excuse me. I hadn't actually read Diablo's changes, I'll be completely honest with you guys, so I'm just poking through it now. What else is notable about him?
He has a Q quest at 13 that I've been trying to play around with that does, if you finish the quest, so after you Q into a target and collide them into a wall, you can do a baseline is 5% of their maximum HP.
You said
you
at
can buff
13?
it up to, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's at 13. It should be in the changelog down below. Devastating Charge.
Yeah, it's listed under 7 though. They moved it from 7 to 13, but it's
so
listed
confusing.
under level 7.
Oh, I hate
That's
that.
funny.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. Yeah. But you can do a maximum of a target's 15% of their maximum HP on a Q.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and they buffed his battle momentum to 1.5 seconds per auto attack for his Q and his E.
Dude, he's gonna spam W's for days.
Yeah, you can.
No, it's just his Q and his E.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but you can basically take the 13 quest or whatever it is, and then take the battle momentum, and you're just punting and flipping people everywhere. And then his new level 1 talent, which increases his resistance duration from 2 to 5 seconds. So you have resistance up for a very large majority of a fight. So he's super tanky. He's just a god. He does damage with his Q to targets that need to die. It's just, they made him a beast. Intentionally, but I think they might have made him a bit too strong. Well, I'm curious to see how they're going to balance him.
Summer Sham 2 is smiling so hard. This is...
Yeah, he feels really strong. It's kind of weird that they removed Bolt as well and then put APOC into Bolt. That's basically what Hellgate is. You kind of still have Bolt of the Storm, but after where he bolts onto, he gets an APOC, like one solo APOC circle.
Dude, that's amazing. Does it look
It's pretty
different?
insane. No, it's the same exact
No, it's just an
visual.
APOC circle.
Yeah.
You can blink onto someone, then flip them right away, and it stuns them basically.
You set up your own combo at 20.
So like he's like, I don't need
You-
Tyrande, I got this.
Yeah, and you can combo that with an APOC. So you Q,
Double
you
stun,
blink,
yeah.
you blink, you E, then you APOC as soon as you can, and then it's just like a double stun. It's pretty nasty.
Damn. I am definitely jumping into some games with him after this tonight. That sounds insane.
Yeah. We played one game against Diablo, and we're just like, that hero not playing against it. We're gonna play with it or not against it. So
Sounds like Twitch chat hates him. He's too strong.
It's ridiculous. He feels super strong.
if you think about what Diablo's in the meta, that brings all. Yeah, I read a little bit of Twitch chat. Like there's gonna be some heroes coming back. Like Tyrande Diablo might be a thing again. So
Dude, that was such a classic. Just it's so many free setups. Like
yeah, and then Diablo Wombo as well as Zeratul, who's also strong right now. Just think
Iron
of all
Fist
the
Monk.
think of all the setups you have with that. It's insane.
the meta is going to change a lot, friends. That's for sure. At least the qualifiers will be done before this actually hits. Because
Yeah.
Yeah. I could
That's
only
insane.
imagine if the PTR was before this qualifier.
I think there might actually because the league starts in middle of January, I think. So there might actually still be another patch before the league actually goes live. So
There probably will be.
Yeah, I mean, that means Rag will definitely be legal, and possibly one other hero, whatever comes after Rag.
Yeah.
yeah, so this patch, I don't know. We'll see. There'll be a lot of time to there's been a lot of changes in this patch, and I'm glad there's going to be a lot of time between now and competitive play again.
Yeah. Diablo, I think, is going to be interesting.
For sure. Well, those are our patch notes. Obviously, lots of stuff to still be tested and figured out and opinions to be formed. But we can now transition over to talking about esports. Once again, guys, if you want to contribute to Gladius, just type !Gladius in chat. I'll actually just manually post the link once again. And let's transition to Gold Club World Championship, where Dunk Train got to go spend another good bit of time. How long were you in China, Dunk?
13 days, I think, in Beijing. Yeah, it was really awesome. I think the tournament format was pretty much perfect. Like it was a round robin group stage seeding into a double elim bracket where like top four were double elim, bottom four only had one life. Like I think it's pretty much ideal in terms of tournament format. All the games matter for deciding whether you're 2 lives or 1 in elimination, but it's not like single elim, and everyone like has a fair, or at least like a reasonable level of fair in terms of like who gets eliminated and who doesn't. Like one of the problems with the one of the problems with the tournament format we have used this year for Heroes at the globals and at the large events is you can go 2-0 out of your group and then lose your match, and you lose and you only lost 1 life, whereas someone who goes 2-1 then can win even though they already lost 1. So that always felt awkward. This format at least resolves that, but of course it adds a ton of game time, which I think is actually good, because we saw a lot of meta developments and had tons of games to watch. It was a lot of fun. So I loved it.
Did you speak to any of the players as to how they felt about it at the event?
I mean, I was hanging out with the players most of the time. I don't know how much we talked about the format overall. I think I like that it's fair and more games, but I could see players being on both sides because they don't want to play that many games. Visibly, like you don't want to have that much footage of you available or whatever, or they think, oh, if the tournament's so long, then it's not as useful to have strats or whatever prepared. But I liked it. I think it was cool.
Urho, Insomnia, do you guys read through all the format? Do you guys watch Gold Club at all?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think the format was much better, and there's more games, but it's easier to determine who really belongs where, because like Dunk had said, in the past there have been teams that do great in groups, then they get to the actual tournament and then they get eliminated. You know, on their first loss was their loss of the tournament, so it's frustrating. I think we're kind of seeing that now in HGC. I mean, there's a lot on the line. There's some of these players, that's a monthly salary. That's their living, right? And it's all based. There's not even a losers bracket for these qualifications. So I feel like it's and because of that, the brackets are really messed up. They need to have a better qualification process. I can't talk. Sorry. And I think GCWC was a step in the right direction, and a lot of the players are saying that they liked it because of that reason. And the viewers get more games. There are some drawbacks, of course. You have to show strats early, but I think overall it'll help teams get to where they need to be. So.
Yeah, I completely agree. I feel like the non-double elimination also feels pretty weird, but the losers bracket is obviously always something to look forward to, because then, if you drop down, you can obviously see what kind of... It adds another tier of strategy, basically, to the tournament gameplay, is how it kind of feels.
Mm. Yeah, and a lot of times, too, like, from a viewer's standpoint, and even me from a player standpoint, when there's a lot of, HOTS games tend to take a little bit longer, but usually it's always production issues. Like, there's usually mic issues, PC issues, and I feel like this is just my own personal criticism. I feel like that a lot of the HOTS tournaments need to be ran a little bit better. GCWC, from what I saw, was ran pretty smoothly. There wasn't a lot of technical issues, but in the past that was an issue with HGC. Like one time at DreamHack, we sat there literally for an hour and 45 minutes after we drafted a very non-conventional comp, and then the other team had an hour and 45 minutes to talk about how they're going to play against it. That's frustrating.
Let's never relive that moment again. Oh my God,
yeah.
That was...
I think a lot of the issues that happen from a viewer standpoint is because there are a lot of technical issues that you guys obviously know it happens, but it happens a lot. And that's why the games are taking so long, not because, the format needs, is already too long. So.
Yeah, GCWC was ran really well. We were nervous about it going into the event. Because it's China, there's like language barrier with a lot of stuff. You don't know how well things are going to work out, but everything ran super smooth on English stream. I think we had like maybe 15-minute delay one time over the 2 weeks, which is like insane.
That's insane.
The rest was pretty much like right on schedule. So huge props to them for that.
Yeah, I hit you up. I was like, "Hey, Dunk, how's China going?" He's like, "Yeah, it's good. I'm like, "So are you guys being treated like the B stream? Like you guys are just kind of the sideshow?" He's like, "No, not at all, man." So that's great to hear, because historically, when some of these international events happen, whether it be a North American event and then we offer a stream to Korea, their stream is always very much like last minute. Or an English stream happening in Asia, the English stream always ends up being like a little sideshow. And to hear that wasn't the case, I think is really good, just for standards that everyone can follow. I'm really happy about it. But let's talk about just kind of the meta, Dunk.
The meta of Korean teams being OP, that meta? Or the meta of the actual heroes selected?
We could talk about Korea. I mean, Ballistics reigning supreme again. I don't know if anyone's surprised, but I think one of the surprises that we can talk about is Miracle having such a ridiculously good showing, being a team that wasn't at BlizzCon. Yeah,
definitely. I think it surprised a lot of people that they 2-0'd Black, like in matches. That was pretty insane. Especially after the first one, where I felt like Black made draft mistakes big time, and that cost them the match. And then the second time, Miracle came back and like kind of did it again, which is like, wow, you didn't learn in like the day or whatever. You had to prepare again. It was pretty interesting. Of course, Ballistic stomping Miracle kind of made the finals less than ideal. So like Black Miracle was like the real finals in terms of competitiveness, and then Ballistic's Miracle was just like kind of a crush.
Yeah, it wasn't even good.
Yeah,
but Ballistics is just on their own level right now. I mean, Korea obviously the league of their own. Urho, Insomnia, you guys were saying this when we were preparing for the show, but you said it felt, I think this was your words, Insomnia, it felt like the teams that in NA that watched GCWC won their drafts in actual NA HGC. And is that really just everybody learning from Korea, or are we adopting like this EU meta, which is kind of like Gul'dan and stuff? I mean, I always look at Gul'dan as like an EU meta hero, and obviously that's become quite prominent in GCWC. How do you guys feel about it? Let's start with you, Insomnia.
I kind of feel that obviously Korea puts in more time to test new comps, and they're not really necessarily afraid to throw, an unconventional thing that we think is so weird into something that as actually could be broken. You know what I mean? They practice with either the time with the comp or just play it better mostly. And then obviously we can always learn from that with what they're doing. And then when that comes to, if you want to be better, all you necessarily have to be to qualify for a regional thing is better than everybody else in your region. So if that's what's working over there and everyone just practices that, and if you can do what they're winning with over there, no one's going to do that over here. So everyone that just studied those drafts and practiced those drafts and brought those over to here before anybody else has seen them, you just dominate with that draft, probably just like how they did. So I feel like the teams in NA that studied the other region while Gold League was going on just came out on top. It's mostly how I feel about it.
Erho, would you agree?
I agree with that to a certain extent. I think the only thing that really came out of the Gold League that kind of translated to HGC was the task follow type stuff. I think that was the dominant thing. Teams understood that task follow was just broken. Even if you're a weaker team, you can easily win games or make it closer than it should be. So I think that was the most dominant thing from that. There are some things that the Koreans and Chinese ran that NA teams just weren't practiced enough or just aren't good enough to run. Like Sergeant Hammer, I haven't seen a team have a lot of success with that here at all. I agree that definitely if something seems really strong on a different region's meta, and for whatever reason, it usually translates pretty well, with the exception of certain heroes. It just depends. Like, for example, I don't think Zeratul Illidan is a super high priority in NA because there aren't like a lot of godlike Zeratul Illidan players here, exception of like maybe 2 or 3. And those teams usually run that all the time. So a little bit of I just have to agree. But mostly, yeah.
I think you said this when you were looking at the patch notes, Dunk. Tyrael involvement rate in GCWC, absolutely insanity. And of course, we know that Sanctification is going to be getting nerfed. Even Erho, you were saying that you think NA is completely wrong in playing Tyrael, or not playing Tyrael, the way that some of the other regions do. But you can see how often he is picked in these drafts. Like, he is, especially by the top teams. Was he banned a lot too?
Tyrael?
Yeah.
Only in the later rounds between the Korean matchups.
Right. Okay.
It was actually really interesting. In the round robin, there was not a ton of Tyrael usage, like a good amount, but not insane. And then like the later in knockout stages it got, he was pretty much like 100% involvement in all those later drafts.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting.
Real strong.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about
Gul'dan?
Sergeant Hammer? Before we get to Gul'dan.
Yeah, I don't know. Hammer was impressive some games, but like I don't know. I've never really been a big fan of Hammer, and I especially don't like when she's in the meta. I could understand why the teams were using her to like get structural advantage when you're ahead. Like Hammer is really good to just get you incrementally more advantage than you'd otherwise get. But I feel like every time there was a Hammer in the game, the team was winning regardless of what range damage that hero slot was. If that makes sense.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I feel like Zarya is a better Sergeant Hammer than Sergeant Hammer.
Just because they're poke?
Yeah, well, so most of the time, it's pretty easy to get on most maps her energy up. She just feels so strong in every sense. And then it's almost like having an off tank that's also support, and her damage is like so high as well. Like, if you honestly like cannot fight a full energy Zarya. And then now that the quality of life on our Q is just insane too. Like you can Q and move now. So it's pretty nuts.
Yeah,
I don't know.
The Zarya PTR Q change you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is going to be huge for Zarya.
Mm-hmm.
And then Gul'dan, I think, was the biggest surprise for me, I would say. Like coming to the tournament, I thought Gul'dan was just okay. But watching him throughout the event, he actually had a really good win rate and was like very impactful every game we saw him.
Dude, he's a monster.
Yeah, I mean, he was really good.
Especially once you see people start to get used to him, start to get used to how to really maximize Echoed Corruption or corruption in general. It feels like he can just lay out monster numbers.
Yeah.
Let's talk about just the global scale of things. I mean, we know Korea's king. Is like, I mean, Dig, obviously a lot of those guys were tired and burnt out, and it's a lot of travel. And they mentioned that I think Jay put a blog out basically stating that he's just in need of a break. It's been a long year, and it's, but they still played admirably, and they ended up winning their fifth, sixth match, right? So that they ended up being fifth seed going into the tournament. Beat Astral, and I think they dropped out immediately after. Dig had to face MVP Black right after that, so that was the end of their run. Astral they won, I think, 2 games in the group stage, and that was it.
Yeah,
let me pull it up here on Master League. It might be the same story with them. Maybe they're also just exhausted from the BlizzCon Gauntlet and then the travel. But it just seems like the West is pretty far behind.
I don't know how far behind. It's like on a per team basis. Like, I feel like Dignitas was definitely as good as any of the Chinese teams. I would say like Zero and Dig, I felt like were really close, and I would have liked to see them play for 5th, 6th versus 4th instead of both teams losing to MVP Black sequentially. I feel like that would have been more interesting, if that makes sense. But yeah, definitely.
So Urho, Insomnia. Urho, I guess more for you since you've played in the pro scene in the past. Insomnia is kind of new to it. Do you think this whole structure of the league, the consistent play, do you think it's better overall for just like raising the level of play?
I think it'll help. I mean, all the teams that are getting in now, we scrim each other all the time, almost exclusively top 8 only. So it's not really going to change the competition within NA. I think why NA is probably worse. I just think that we don't take the game as seriously. I don't know. It's really hard to explain. I mean, some people say it's the attitude of NA players, but there's a lot of NA teams that have great attitudes. Like, they play 10 hours a day, very positive. So I personally don't know anymore. I can't put my finger on it. It might just be that the Korean players they just have rosters of people that they don't have weak links. That's probably what it comes down to. And there's a few NA rosters that still have weak links.
Yeah.
I'm not going to point fingers because I could be wrong, but you know what I mean? I think that's what it comes down to. I think there's just not like an NA super team, and the teams that do have that potential, I don't think they go as hard as they should. So that's my take on it. I mean, I could be wrong. So
it almost seems like kind of, just from watching other teams, even the best teams in North America have so much room for improvement and or make, simple mistakes as well. If you look at a Korean team, they can run a certain comp almost flawlessly with very minimal mistakes. It almost looks like a fine-tuned machine, everyone just like working together. And then NA, you could have a perfect draft and then like a throw pit comes or something like that. Like, just, you get very overwhelmed, and it just seems like not everyone's attuned with playing, so precisely all the time, I guess.
Could be a hero pool thing too. Mm-hmm. I mean, when we competed in Worlds in Korea, like, on Eventic, we had like 2 or 3 comps we were running, but then when we went up against Koreans, they just drafted things they just had bigger hero pools. Like, we couldn't ban them out. It's like, well, they can play this, they can play this. It's like, oh, well, I think that had a lot to do with it. So
it's pretty hard to ban out a team that can play everything. So honestly, it's just like, you just have to keep practicing everything, and then until you get it down to that point. Otherwise, sometimes most teams will just get one comp down, and then somebody will figure out how to run this against it. You know what I mean? And then they just leave it at that. And then, or like, think of a strat and then not think anything about it. But maybe like they're just thinking on the spot so much more frequently that they think, oh, we can just run this. You know what I mean? It's perfectly fine. Huh. Our best comp is nothing compared to, I guess, how they run it. Or we get so comfortable with winning with what we have, rather than looking for new ideas or, new counters to certain things. Yeah, there's so many different ways you could look at it, honestly.
Yeah.
I think.
I read that interview with the Chinese player saying that NA teams, Because I knew this too. Like when I went to Korea, I played against MVP Black, and mechanically, I felt like they weren't doing anything too special. What they were doing is that they just knew what they needed to do. Like, I don't know how to explain it. And mechanically, they felt the same, but they felt like they were being like more aggressive. Or I guess the Chinese player said that NA teams and some EU teams just aren't that aggressive. And I think they're right. I think there's a lot of opportunities that NA pro players have as a team, and they just don't take the opportunities. They play the game much more passive. They play around the objectives more. Whereas when we played against, like I said, against MVP Black, like one of us they picked us off all the time because they played so aggressive. And we were just kind of sitting around passively waiting for the objective. So that could be it. It's just something that NA just needs to get better at it as a whole.
Yeah, you watch Korean Valas, and like they are in your face like all the time. Then you watch like NA Valas, and they're like playing way more safe, getting the safe damage. They go in for the hungering arrow, but they're not like min-max in those auto attacks the way you see the Korean Valas do. Right,
and we're working on it too. Like it's not like we sit here we all watch the Korean games. We're like, that Vala with TAS Vala, like that Vala is playing as almost as forward as their Tyrael, or almost as forward, taking really good trades. And we're watching that when we're learning. And I know, like our team, we talk about all the time. Like our Vala player, you just play really forward here. Try to take a trade. We're not going to get mad if you die. Just whatever, play forward and just be as aggressive as you can and learn your limits when you have the TAS Vala. So we're learning. It's not like I just think that as a region, we're a bit more afraid to. I don't know how to explain it. Maybe it's just so many roster swaps. I don't know. Maybe people are so afraid to make mistakes in game they don't want to get kicked off their team or something. I don't know. I have no idea. That could be the mentality. So.
Yeah, it feels like NA teams overall just aren't as decisive. Like that's the big thing. Mm-hmm. Whenever a Korean team sees an opening, they immediately take it, and I feel like NA teams don't do that.
Lagif, man. It's all about the Lagif. That's what it boils down to.
Well, yeah, people make fun of Zuna for dying there, but like at least he tried to do something. You know what I mean? Like his call was right. He just made a mistake. Like that's what I'm talking about. I think people in NA are too afraid to make mistakes.
Yeah. It's also a different standpoint from, obviously I agree with Urho on that decision. Like he was trying to make the play. It obviously looks so bad, like when it goes wrong, but if it would have went right, everyone would have went from lol, oh my god, Zuna to PogChamp like instantly. You know what I mean? So certain plays like that, like at least he's trying them, you know what I mean? So he's always going to be like plays like that are always going to stand out to other people that don't make them.
Well, I think like Zuna, for all the NA players, I think he's probably the one that makes his decisive, like, we can kill this guy. He goes for the greed. He goes for the hunger more than anyone else.
Yeah.
And if, I think he's that's why he does see a lot of big success when he does do that, because he knows he can, extend that situation as far as it can go. Well, let's actually officially transition over to HGC 2017 and our last topic of the night, and open it up by just announcing everyone, if you haven't seen it, who is going to be playing on the side of Europe. So it's Dignitas, Fnatic, Misfits, 2Bs Determined, the Damascus Boys, B Genius, Diamond Skin, and Russian Circus. So obviously there's some broken hearts, some players that have been around forever. I believe Grand Paquete is one of them that didn't make it through, who's very well known. BKB, another one that's been around for a long time. Those guys are maybe they can get on as a sub for one of the teams or something, but subs don't get salaries. So it's definitely one of those tough moments where it's just like, this is where my life is. What do I do now? And that's rough. But congrats to everyone that has qualified. Those will be the first 8 teams for the 6 months here in HGC, January to whenever the first split is. I don't remember the exact dates. I believe it's about 6 months in total in which they'll be playing in the league and fighting for those top 3 spots that go to the split, the Western Clash. On the side of NA, we've got Astral, Denial, Gale Force, and Aventic. And then this past weekend, that's why we've got Urho and Insomnia here, because Grandmaster Jackets and No Tomorrow earned their spots and earned them dank salaries. Question number 1, since it's Insomnia's first time here, how's it feel, bro?
Honestly, I keep telling, we still scrim every day, and I keep telling everyone that it feels so surreal. Like, I've came, I guess, so far. My first team in the amateur scene was on 2ARC, and I was a support player back in the day. And then I made the change of, like, I got so aggressive, and I became so aggressive that I knew that wasn't the role for me. based on how just, I guess, support kind of plays out. And then, so I had to kind of reconvince everybody that I could be, I had the time to be a good player. So it's honestly like, it's pretty insane to kind of think about, you know what I mean? Like I don't feel like, because I just feel like everyone in the NA scene is so like close and not in similar skill levels, I guess. So it's like, honestly, you just find a group of people that you mesh with so well.
A group of peens.
And then a group of peens. Yeah. Oh my God. A group of people that you mesh with and you just like communicate well. And then, it's kind of crazy. This game is played so much better on a team scale than, Hero League. It's completely different. So it's crazy, man. But it feels good, that's for sure. You know what I mean? That's about all I got, man.
Awesome. I mean, congrats once again. Urho, this was your return to Heroes of the Storm. You dabbled with Overwatch with Arthlon for a short while. Obviously decided against that. Now your first sweep back on in. Didn't take you too long. Second qualifier, you're in there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Was it easy?
I mean, haters are gonna hate, dude. Like when I was seeing people like, "Oh, Arrow sucks anyway." It's like, well, I'm here again. Like, I guess I suck so bad that I qualified again. Anyways, but I guess for me, because the reason I took a break from here, I was burnt out because we did a lot of travel. Like, a lot of pro players would talk like last year. Their format for tournaments and like income for a pro player in Heroes was so much different. There's so many lands. You just got so burnt out from all the travel. And it was insane. So I think the league is going to be a bit more better for both income and I guess there's less lands, so that's better for us. The biggest change, like I said, is definitely I'm not going to be as burnt out. That's one of the reasons I left. So now it's just like less lands. I also felt really bad for like because I was always on like a first, second place team last year for the most part when I did play. So, and then I looked at all the people below me that were like working really hard, like the 7th, 8th, 6th, 5th place teams overall. They worked just as hard as we did, and they got like, I think like a fifth of the money we earned. So I think the league is really good for increasing the overall skill and just the it'll help reward the lower level teams. It'll just increase the overall player pool of NA, so it's good. I'm really excited.
Dunk, how you feeling about what the teams that have qualified so far? Are you surprised to see these 6 teams in the league right now? Astral, Denial, Gale Force, and Eventic, Grandmaster, No Tomorrow?
No, I don't think there's any surprise really. Like anyone who's looked at the NA Heroes scene, like the top 4, so like the 2 who auto-qualified and the 2 who qualified in the first one, I think are, everyone would agree, pretty much head and shoulders right now above everyone else in terms of like consistency and performance in NA. So there's no surprise in those qualifiers. And qualifier 2, qualifier 3, there's a lot of room for teams to either reform, pick up new rosters, that sort of stuff. So I wouldn't say I'm surprised at all. Like I don't think looking at either of the rosters that made it in number 2, it's like a surprise.
Well, we've got one qualifier left. It's this coming weekend, and this is the last chance for the Western scene, not even just NA, but anyone in the West, to earn their spots. Looking at qualifier number 2, Vox was one of those teams that was in the finals in Grandmaster Jackets. You guys kind of went to town, 3-1ing them. I actually didn't catch. I did catch the stream because I cast it. It was so quick. Holy shit. But it just shows how good my memory is sometimes. But yeah, that was definitely an impressive feat for you guys going up like that. But Vox is just like the instantly making the two player swap. Rafflecopter and Nightmare, I believe, are the two new players moving on in. Hosty and what was the other one that dropped off?
Prismaticism from DTS for Hosty.
Right, that was the trade for DTS. Yeah. So Dumpster Tier picked up Hosty for Prismat. But who else is gone from Vox? Was it How?
How and Quit.
Yeah.
And then I'm not sure. Oh, they left the Hosty for obviously Raffle.
So they picked up Raffle and Nightmare. It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, we've got Vox, we've got DTS, we've got 28 My Hot Doge, we've got Nice, and I think those are the big contenders for this coming week. Imported didn't look that good, honestly. When I saw their game, I only saw one of their matches, but like
Shots.
I don't think they're a top contender for one of these spots compared to those other 4 teams that I just mentioned.
I have no idea. I haven't done any of like bracket analysis or what actually is going to happen, but it kind of feels like if one side of the bracket is loaded again, it could be, if
anyone.
DTS and Chew 8 faces again, then the top side could be anybody, to be honest. So it's kind of weird.
I think the favorites to qualify, if they're on opposite sides of the brackets, are 2H's team and DTS, but you never know. I think last week the favorites were Vox, but Insomnia's team just showed up and won the series convincingly too. I think not convincingly. The games are close, but you guys played really well, surprised everybody, and definitely deserve your spot. So, I'm trying to think. Yeah, that just goes back to the whole bracket thing being so weird. There needs to be an all-in bracket because of this. I think the first 2 qualifiers, the brackets were so stacked on the bottom side, it was insane. Because you have 3 teams that should qualify in the bottom bracket, and then you have 2 teams that could maybe qualify, and like 1 team for sure would qualify, and then you had like 3 teams that might not qualify on the top side of the bracket. So it was frustrating, but I think the teams that should qualify will end up qualifying, assuming the brackets aren't messed up again.
Would you say that the qualification system would have been better if it was 2 double elim brackets with top 3 teams advancing, rather than 3 single elim brackets with top 2 teams advancing?
I think the top 3 idea is good. You could either do 2 tournaments with top 3 with double elim throughout the whole tournament, or you can just do 3 tournaments with only the top 16 being there, or top 8 being double elim. So the first day of tournaments, you just go through the round of 64, round of 32, and then top 16 is double elim. That's another way you can do it too.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of scheduling it out in a reasonable amount of time and getting all this qualified. But, well, I guess that's something they can look at for future seasons if they do see a potential to change that. Somebody in chat just said, look for KO in this qualifier. Ooh. Dunk, I got to ask you on air.
Is KO going to play?
Are you going to play?
No, I'm not going to be playing in the HGC this year.
Sorry, friends. So many people are sad. That just means you get more Dunk Train on camera and you get to see him in China. Yes, that was fun. I thought you did a great job, man, by the way.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun. The caster squad we had there was soups decent, so shout outs to them for all doing a great job. I don't want to... Man, you made it awkward, Jake. I was going to shout out to all of them at the end of the show when we do our shout outs, and now you just made me talk about it.
You're forcing the shout out.
R.I.P.
Shit, we'll forget about it. I keep swearing tonight, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm just in a very aggro mood today. I guess that happens. Super decent, those guys over there. North America, obviously evolving a bit. We're seeing some more diverse compositions every once in a while. Some crazy global strats on the side of DTS. So there were, if you guys didn't catch any of the VODs from NAHGC this past weekend, I suggest you look at both of the qualification matches, and at least, you can watch both the whole matches, but at the bare minimum, watch both of the Towers of Doom games, because they were lit. Those games were absolutely phenomenal. And I guess the word that I think I used in stream was they made me pucker real good, because I was constantly just woo, because man, it was a lot of fun. Doesn't know what to say about that.
I don't know what to say. That's an interesting way to describe your emotions. I puckered. I puckered. That brings the visual to my brain. I have a question for Dunk. If coaching became lucrative, would you rather coach or cast for Heroes? Because being an ex-pro player, I think that's something I kind of want to touch on a little bit. If it's okay, we talk about that, because I think this is important.
Yeah, so let's say that they both had both identical in every respect in terms of what you get out of them, except your job is casting, your job is coaching. I think I personally would rather coach. Like, I actually find that really fascinating, and I think that kind of is very apparent if you like watch my casting and analysis style. Like, I definitely tend towards the just talking about like why plays were good and stuff like that, not really the hype aspect. And I feel like I would thrive maybe even in that sort of environment where, I mean, to me, the coaching and the high level playing and that sort of stuff is really what I find interesting the most, right? Like, I think they're both awesome, but coaching, if it were like the hot in NA, I would definitely coach.
Yeah, because I felt this. Because when I came back to the game, I was just like, well, I kind of want to. I got burnt out being a player, but I'd love to be a coach, but it's just not there, you know?
Yeah.
So I just kind of want to get your thoughts on it as well, because I would have loved to coach.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, yeah, the scene is just not developed enough, but it's definitely something that I think I think honestly NA needs to catch up to like Korea. You need like respected coaches. You need
right,
teams to work together like that.
There was a big thread on Reddit about this, and like all the pro players, like, look, we would love coaches, but I feel like anyone that is qualified to coach this game, they're casting. Like,
Yeah.
when you think about what would be a good coach right now, it would be like Dunk and Dread. Like, they would be probably the best coaches you could get right now that aren't currently a player. So, yeah, that's a big thing. You want someone is good at the game, and they know what they're talking about, and they can actually put an input from a third-party perspective that you have to respect. I think a lot of the issue is that it's hard to get coaches in NA right now because a lot of players, I mean, know more than a potential coach, and I think that's where it's at right now.
Yeah, I also think like in NA, there's like a lot less respect for coaches as a whole in esports, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah,
I
can agree with that.
feel like the players just aren't as receptive to coaches who maybe don't necessarily have like the game specific knowledge, but you still could benefit a lot from just having like a more mature person who just has been through esports and stuff. Like someone in chat just said Grubby would be great. Yeah, he would, because you could get so much knowledge just from someone who's older than you, more stable than you, because like a lot of players are young, and like, you know, those 17 to 20-year-olds that are really emotionally reactive and stuff like that, like having a life coach would be huge value for any team to level up overall.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So we basically just confirmed the Arcane Esports team where Dunk Train's going to be our head coach. Who knows? I like that idea a lot, Dunk. I hope to see a team invest in that. I think there's a lot of value, and it'd be really nice to see one of the top teams, one of the teams that actually has a budget, invest in a coach to help level up their squad and take them to the global level, because I think you could add a ton. You really could.
Yeah. I mean, I would love for a coach to be like, Airho, you need to work on this, and this. Like this week in Hero League, just work on like using Q in this situation, or let's go into like I don't know, try mode and like practice landing a Tyrael Q on like a boss point or something, you know.
Mm-hmm.
If I have a list of things to work on as a player, I just need to worry about that and nothing else, you know. So
yeah,
it's kind of hard growing it's kind of hard growing when you only see your own mistakes. Sometimes like the extra eye, if like you don't trust somebody, like, you know, it's hard to, you know, tell another non-warrior player to tell a warrior player what they should be doing, you know what I mean? But somebody with like an overview of everything it's a lot easier to grow when you know what you're doing wrong. So it would be nuts if coaches were a thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell your teammate too, like, we as a team can't run this hero because you're not very good at this hero. And it's hard for me because like if it's outside my role, it's like we just don't have a lot of success with this, and I can't tell the dude how to play like, I don't know, KT or Jane. You know what I mean? Just any hero.
For sure.
Because I don't play those heroes. Like it's hard for me, and it's hard to grow as a team because of that. And I think that goes back to the why NA is kind of struggling thing, because we need to have some be able to take criticism better, and I guess from the right source. And I think coaches would be the best source.
Yeah, having like a third party to like filter that stuff would be so useful in communicating between a team. Because you're right, you can't just like tell your teammate like, sorry bro, you just suck at that hero. Like that doesn't work. Like you need a coach who can be like, you can give your feedback to them, and then they can filter it and deliver it properly, so the person works on something instead of just gets upset or whatever. I mean, people do help each other improve and stuff on a team, but it's difficult.
I think it's going to be interesting too to see like actual teams having to stick together in HGC.
Yep.
Whether they give the roster swap or not. People, a reality check for a lot of people to make it an actual job.
Dude.
Now you have to deal with these people.
You know
what I
maybe
mean?
that'll make NA great again. Maybe we'll go to the next, and like because we have rosters that are stable now. Like all of a sudden, mind's blown. Like NA is competing.
Yeah.
Like
Well, we have
maybe
to
we'll
deal
see.
with each other.
That's a topic I was actually going to save for a future show, just because I think that's a huge topic. But
Oh, my bad.
no, I'm glad you said it, because it is such a big deal.
Spoiled.
No, it's such a big deal having stable rosters and forcing them to stay together, because I think it was Ballistics that the quote was, "Our friendship proves how important that is to winning," or something. Like, I don't know if that's the exact quote, but they straight up just said, like, look, we're a group of friends and we body nerds. Get on our level and be friends with your team. But it's true. It shows through. I mean, even Dig. I mean, the core of that roster, even Athro being swapped for Alex, when Alex, the unretired Pro G, retired and unretired. It's not like Alex was foreign to the team. He was already basically part of the team. He like literally went to high school with Snitch. So that's pretty crazy to think about. But yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. The next NA qualifier this coming weekend, Saturday, Sunday, same time as last week, 6 p.m. Be interesting to see who makes it through. But I think that's going to do it for tonight's show, because I have not eaten dinner and we are just about at that time, and I'm ready to call it insomnia. Thank you so much for coming on, and please plug the poo out of yourself as I censor myself.
Oh my god. The final censor at the end. Oh, I guess I'm actually just so stoked to, thanks for asking me to be here, because I think this is huge exposure for, I guess, who I am. And I'm so passionate about this game, man. Like, I love this game, but I feel like it needs to keep going in the right direction, because I feel like anyway, follow me on Twitter at InsomGG, and then I'm in the chat at InsomniaQQ_. And then I wanted to shout out my entire my Twitch fam. You guys are awesome, man. Thank you, guys.
They showed up for it today too.
Hell yeah, they did.
Erho, say Marooney Dooney.
Twitter handle is down below. It's also my Twitch handle. I stream every once full moon. Kind of informative when I stream. I get salty. That's about it. I want to give a shout out to Tiger JK, aka Sealja, aka Fake Chew, aka Ed, aka our support player. So you wanted to shout out, but that's about it. And
Tiger.
I want to give a shout out. I want to give Tiger JK. I want to give a shout out to Casanova. I think he's one of my teammates. I think he's of all the amateur players I've ever played with, he's the one that impresses me the most in terms of attitude and how young he is to the game. I think he's got a lot of potential. So,
Hold on.
Cool.
This is really important. You won't be able to hear it, but
Round three, fight! Tiger uppercut!
all right, that's for you, Tiger. I just got a little Street Fighter 2 Tiger upcut, soundbite put in there just to make sure we were good. Dunk Train, take
Nice.
it away, man. Good to have you back, by the way.
Thanks. Yeah, so speaking of coming back to the US, thanks to Gold League for putting together an amazing tournament. The accommodations were fantastic. Teams were great. The format was excellent. Shout out to my fellow casters, Wolf, Dread, Grubby. You guys were great. So happy to work with you guys. And honestly, that event was really amazing. So I'm super happy I got that opportunity. And thanks to everyone involved with that and you guys for watching and making it happen.
And a shout out to Dunk Train's caster buddies that he had so much fun working with that I stole his caster shout out with. I'm just going to keep making it awkward as long as I can. Before we go, the one thing I want to shout out is just the new event we're doing via Arcane 8. And again, guys, Arcane 8 is my new esports production company that's really taken over any kind of show that isn't my personal stream moving forward in 2017. So any kind of podcast, tournament, you name it, in 2017 will all be on the Arcane 8 Twitch. It's a new Twitch. There's a lot of other cool stuff Arcane 8's doing. It's going to be very, very involved in Heroes of the Storm. Also, probably going to be doing a bit with Overwatch 3v3. I've actually kind of backed away from standard Overwatch, and I can talk about that on an Overwatch show. But for me, Overwatch 3v3 is really, really fun. Those are the two games that I care about, Overwatch 3v3 and then Heroes of the Storm. And that's what I intend to do with Arcane 8 for the most part, especially moving forward next year. Might be other things, but Heroes is going to be very heavily focused on the Arcane 8 YouTube and Twitch, so please follow that. You'll find this show here next year. But the next production we're doing just to close out the year, we actually promised an ARAM tournament after we raised over $11,000 for Bloodlust earlier this year. And I mean, I'll tell you, I'm hard at work on the next Bloodlust. I'm happy to say that. I've said it on my stream plenty times. But Gladius is something to close the year out with, something fun. This is open to each and every person in the Heroes of the Storm community, whether you're from China, whether you're from Europe, whether you're from North America, you can enter, but all the matches will be played on the Americas. You can go to matcherino.com to find the event. You can type !Gladius in chat. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can find it in the information, but it's open registration on Battlefy. I guess the best place to get the Battlefy link, since I'm showing you guys this link, just go to arcane8.com. All the info's there as well. But you can contribute for free by typing Gladius as the coupon code. And it's just basically puts a free $1 courtesy of Matcherino here on the prize pool. We've already gotten $61 in donations during the show today. So thank you so much for that, everyone, for your contributions. Johnny Quest. There's a song called Johnny Quest. It's a ska song. It's really good. It's stuck in my head now. Thank you so much. And there's also these products you can purchase where it will benefit the event as well. So if you're looking to get into streaming, this is an amazing microphone for streamers. I have one on my desk. A lot of streamers use them. I actually have two pairs of Siberia headsets. They are really quite nice as well. That's from SteelSeries. And then, I mean, BenQ, they make dope monitors. I don't own one, but I've used them at MLG events and ESL events, and they're, well, it's all really good products, worthy of your dollar, a gift for a friend, whatever you might end up wanting to use it for. Do me a favor, follow those Arcane 8 social things. That's really all I care about moving forward. I mean, my personal stream is going to be a lot of shenanigans. I've been streaming games, like just random survival games in the wee hours of the night to no viewers, and it's great. I love it. It's super fun. And I think that's going to do it here. Thank you again, Urho. Thank you, Insomnia. And I guess we'll see you next week. GG's. Oh, Town Holiday is soon. It's soon. News on that very soon. Dunk's like, wait, oh no, I have to do that. All right, GG's.